What sort of forethought goes into these super intense moments that people would just say you got lucky?
You know, in the old days, that's what I would do. I would go and show up and like, hey, let's see what happens, you know, and hope for the best. And it's got to the point where, you know, I want to go beyond that. So there is a little bit more of a thought process of like, what pictures can I make that I haven't done? What can I do, or an underwater shot of a polar bear? Can I get penguins underwater? Can I get penguins jumping out of the water? I want to go out and make my pictures. And it took me a long time to get to that point of not just like, I want to get that shot, whether it's, you know, a cheetah takedown or a breaching whale. You know, I think there's like an evolution in people's vision, I guess, of like, you know, there's classic iconic images that people want to capture. I think photographers, you know, we want to get that shot. And like, once you got it, great. What can you bring to the game that's new?
Yeah. Can you tell me a little bit about your first camera?
You know, my first camera it was a Christmas present from my grandmother, probably in the late 60s. I just remember like I opened it, it was so stoked, was like completely excited about it. Like grandma totally rocked that one.
Talk a little bit about how photography has affected you.
It's just like, it defines who I am, for better and worse. You know, it's really how I see the world, how I experience the world, and what drives, you know, the 6 months of the year that I'm on the road trying to, you know, being out in the wilderness someplace, trying to capture these moments. You know, it really does, it just defines who I am, for, like I said, for better and worse.
Well, what about for better is kind of obvious, but what about for worse? What do you mean by that?
Well, it's a lot of time alone. It's a lot of time away, you know, and it's just chasing after these really short moments that are incredibly intense. You know, it keeps you from having a normal life. When it's going well, when something's happening, you know, there's nothing else like it because it's so consuming. You know, if I'm out on a Zodiac 30 miles offshore in Hudson Bay, and I spot a bear and somehow get her to trust me enough that I can get in close, it's involving on, you know, on just the most primal level. Biologically, we are not supposed to let ourselves get this close to a predator. And yet I'm trusting her and she's trusting me. It's just so involving. It's almost trance-like.
Think about a time when you're in the field and you're just absolutely alive.
I was photographing a big male bear up on in Kinnack Bay. Was sort of actually sitting in the river with a wide angle, and he spooked a salmon that swam underneath my boot. And he just came roaring after. I mean, just like pounced in, somehow grabbed it without hitting me, but I just got, you know, splashed with water. And I had 90-degree finder on because I could get a camera lower, and just kept shooting this whole sequence. And had no idea what I was going to get. You know, in Svalbard, I wanted to photograph walruses underwater. It's somehow on paper, on email to the skipper, it seemed like a pretty, you know, yeah, it'll be fine. And then the moment when you're sitting on that iceberg with your, you know, with the underwater housing and dry suit, and skipper's wrapping a piece of like skanky rope around me, thinking that's, you know, he can at least get the body back. Walrus, they're kind of tactile. I mean, they like to come up and see what you are. And the very first time I got in the water, one came right up and with those great big ivory tusks, just came up right up the camera and then gave me one good little tap on the, you know, it was on the glass, but it kind of rocked my head back. And it was like, okay, cool, got it. You don't have to tell me twice.
What do you hope to do or see next?
You know, the internet is a funny place. It turns out you can find anything on the internet. Including a used 43-foot steel sailboat. I'm gonna refit it over the winter, and the plan is to take it north next summer. But go up the Labrador coast, hopefully up to Baffin Island, and go do more of this polar work.
Why the poles?
I guess maybe it does come down to intimacy again, where places where the wildlife does not necessarily flee in terror, and you're not surrounded by a great big horde. You know, there's not a tour bus pulling up behind you. It's kind of a way for me to go long, go far, and kind of see how far I can push myself.
If you were meeting with a photographer who is just getting started and they're hooked, what would you share with them as just an important nugget of wisdom to take with them as they get started?
I really would encourage people to find their own voice. The most important part of this business, and and the photographic life is that you've got to have something to say.
Paul, thank you so much for your insights here. Really appreciate you joining us today.
Well, Paul, thank you. It was a lot of fun.